If we're going to see and recognize Jesus, we must be looking in the right places. Welcome back to One Word at a Time. As we continue our journey through John's telling of the Christmas story, we will look closely today at the word recognize, which is found in chapter 1, verse 10, which reads, "He was in the world, and the world was created through him, and yet the world did not recognize him." Have you ever been to a big reunion type event and had someone approach you with great confidence, clearly wanting to reminisce about the good old days, and you had absolutely no idea who they were? Did you notice the sinking expression on their face as they realized that you didn't recognize them? I'm always left feeling a bit bad because I understand how those people feel. When you aren't recognized, you are left feeling a little less valuable. It shows you that your relationship wasn't as meaningful to the other person as it was to you, and that hurts. But now, I want you to picture Jesus. He came to the very earth he created and lived amongst people whom he had created. And we see in our verse today that these people didn't recognize him. His coming had been promised for hundreds and hundreds of years. The entire nation was waiting for him, yet when he came, they didn't seem to notice. And I think I know how this happened. While the people were filled with great expectation, they were looking for things which sprouted more from their personal desires rather than from what God had actually promised. After years of being under the rule of a foreign nation, the people were thirsty for vindication. They wanted to be out from under the thumb of these God-hating people once and for all, fully restored to their old prominence when they essentially ruled the earth. They yearned for physical freedom and riches. These were the things they were certain the Messiah would bring. Instead, God showed up just as he had promised, as a baby, born to a virgin in Bethlehem, a baby who grew into a man who lived inside an ordinary family, who then became a radical, who stirred the pot and operated outside of the system, challenging the status quo. And after measuring Jesus up, it was clear to the leaders of the day that he would never bring the physical riches and security which the nation expected from the Messiah. And in setting their sights on the wrong things, they failed to recognize who Jesus was. Jesus came in a way they weren't expecting, doing things they didn't want him to do, and they missed it all. And now, before we pass judgment on these folks, we must know that we do the same things today. We set our sights on the things that we think God has promised us: comfort, fortune, and happiness. And we look intently for him to arrive in these areas, confident he's going to bring them, only to be confused and disappointed when he doesn't give them. You see, where we set our sights matters greatly. If we're going to see and recognize Jesus, we must be looking expectantly in the right places. You see, God has promised to come and to fill you with himself. In the process, healing everything within you that's broken and transforming you into the image of his Son, the image you were created with. And his process for fulfilling these promises isn't always pretty, comfortable, or even desirable, but it's so worth it. And you and I, we don't have to miss out on encountering and recognizing Jesus for who he really is as he moves in our life. But we gotta be looking at the right things. We have to set our sights on the things that he has actually promised to do on the inside of us. We must look at the weak areas of our character and the areas of our minds and hearts which are broken. And we must expect him to act in these places. We must expect his healing, his wholeness, his purity. And when we set our sights on these areas, when we ask him to fulfill these promises, we will be amazed. Don't miss the opportunity to recognize Jesus as he's in your midst. I'll see you tomorrow.